Hello and welcome to this special edition of the Telco CXO Forum, organized by Voice and Data, a leading telecom media, and Amdocs. The theme, transformation, enhancing business value and ensuring customer delight. This event is being held both in Delhi and Mumbai. First, let's head straight to the event in the capital.
The Telco CXO Forum was held at a prominent venue in Delhi. A very select number of CXOs representing some of the top telecom operators in the country were a part of the dignitaries who graced the occasion. The event began with the lighting of the auspicious lamp. The welcome address was delivered by Pradeep Gupta of Cyber Media and Sanjay Sharma of Amdocs.
The entire business model is getting redefined. So, earlier it was on what sort of reach you have, what sort of pricing you have, what kind of connectivity you have. Now the entire focus is shifting on the customer. What kind of value can you provide to the customer, and also on the fly. So, it is not that, it's a fixed kind of a thing that you sell to the customer. The customer's needs are changing, and therefore we thought that it would be good to get the CXOs involved and talk to them and share what are some of these model changes that are taking place in the industry.
Amdocs has been into the telco business for the last 30 years and maintaining a number one slot in the last so many years, being an industry leader in telcos. This time was more relevant for us to do this event in India because Indian telcos are undergoing a lot of transformation in terms of discussion. They have new norms coming out, merger and acquisition. They have new norms for spectrum coming up. They are looking for newer technologies. And the market is moving from a pure voice-centric solutions to a more complex data-centric solution. Customer demands are increasing, and a lot of smartphones have fueled the growth for a demand on the customer side. They want more and more better services. So all that has fueled together for a thought leadership to be done, which can help telcos to transform themselves to the next level.
Next on the agenda was the industry keynote delivered by Rajan Matthews of Cellular Association of India.
The headline is that we're on the dawn of a new uptake in mobile services and data. Especially, we expect that with the initiatives expressed by TRAI, the DOT, the government, we are feeling quite optimistic, and we expect that over the next several months and years, data should inaugurate the new revolution that's going to overtake the telecom market here in India. And that's going to happen principally because, one, spectrum is going to be put up for auction. We are very keen to participate in that. I think the prices are trending towards the right number. The quantum of spectrum that is going to be available is also being enlarged, and I think M&A activities are being looked at, so that will be a positive. The government has talked about the unified licensing being discussed with the industry, so we think out of that discussion will come a clear path going forward. So all of the traditional roadblocks that have hindered us, I think, are going away, and I think this is going to set the stage for this new uptake. Already we're seeing enhanced uptake in data in our 3G networks. 4G is coming in, and I think we're very bullish about that. In about another year and a half, based on our license conditions, the rollout of the networks have to start hitting the block headquarters, so that will be another impetus. The price points on smartphones are coming down. I think we are seeing a greater uptake. So all around, we're seeing a great sort of optimism coming back into the industry, and we believe that this is going to be the new revolution for India.
Yoav Zaltzman of Amdocs delivered the thought leadership address on the theme, The Power of Experience, Transforming to Customer Delight.
The main message is that we are living in a world which is fast changing, and this puts a lot of challenges on one hand and opportunities on the other end in face of our all the operators around the world. This is not unique to India. Basically, it's a general phenomena. Most of it is driven by the new area of data, basically, where it becomes the major driver for growth in the industry of telecommunications. What we are addressing, and what I was addressing in my presentation, is how Amdocs basically helping or enabling the operators to do a better business, to face the challenges, to take advantage of all the opportunities, the new opportunities that exist today in the market, and basically to better compete and to better perform in terms of their business in the market.
So I think the challenge for the most interactive session of the evening was the panel discussion on the theme, Is Indian Telecom working for customer empowerment and customer delight? Panelists representing the major telecom service providers debated and shared their opinions on the topic. The ET Now team caught up with the panelists after the discussion to find out the key takeaways on the topic and the way ahead for the Indian telecom industry.
And the delivery system.
My input to the panel that both line as well as wireless, both will coexist. You cannot provide all services inside the house, inside the buildings through wireless services. So there has to be a common platform, a service one can get when he is in the office or in the residence, and with the same device he can have wireless services when he is on open or when he is in mobile. So that's my take.
Everybody is talking about not only the service now, we are basically talking about providing a good experience to the customer. And the challenge is, telecom, we have got millions and millions of customers. Any other industry, like I'm from Videocon, so in Videocon we are into different businesses. Providing a delight or a good experience to the customer is much easy because there are lakhs or few lakhs of the customers. Here we are talking about millions and millions of customers. Every day they need service, every day they need recharge, they need to use voice and data, you have to provide the service. And in such an environment, providing them a delight or a good experience is the most challenging, and everybody is looking for technological support to that. Like one thing, which was very, very important, in data, if somebody is downloading a file or a music or a movie and somewhere in between his balance is over, will you allow him to continue downloading or will you stop that? So we have to come out with a solution. My company, we are working on two solutions. One is providing some kind of credit limit to the customers and also telling them in advance that if you are going to download this movie, this much kind of balance you will be needing.
I think lot of things were discussed, like how do you segment customers, and specifically in data, because there are various dimensions in data. So you can segment based on type of service they are using. You can segment based on how much data need he has, let's say per month or per day, or kind of usage he has, or the type of speed he needs. So these are the different dimensions in which you can segment your customer. Then how to delight your customer, how to proactively service the customer. It's not reactive servicing, it is more to do with proactive servicing. So what are the systems available, what are the tools available to do such things in the market which are needed, because of the hyper competition in the market and the unique needs of the data consumer.
One of the comments made in the opening was that in many telcos, IT and networks are separate and they need to come together. My job actually is both in the first place, so my inputs really do cover everything from how the customer gets a good experience to how do we bring together different ways of interacting with the customer for service when the time comes.
The panel discussion that we had provide insight into the challenges that we are going to face, and also provided some solution which can be adopted, particularly from a segmentation point of view, and also help the operators to improve upon the customer delight.
I mean, the key takeaways were the importance of the customer experience, the importance of proactively addressing the customer experience, the importance of the transformation in the Indian market to address this new data explosion that is about to hit the population. Also, India is a very different market to some of the markets, particularly that I'm familiar with in the West, as far as the high volume, low margin piece as well.
The panelists believe that the bottom for the telecom market is over. They believe there is going to be a next big wave of growth which is going to be led in the data, from the data side, and they expect in next 3 years they would see a large chunk of revenue coming from data, or there will be equal revenue from voice and data.
There's lots more interesting discussion and debate lined up from the Telco CXO Forum. Time for a short break, but we'll be back with more action on the other side. Telco CXO Forum is being held in Mumbai as well, and we are here to take you through the main talking points and bring you expert views from the top management of leading telecom service providers.
The Mumbai leg of the Telco CXO Forum also saw a good representation from the Indian telecom industry. The event started with the lighting of the ceremonial lamp by some of the important dignitaries. The welcome address was delivered by Ibrahim Ahmed of Cyber Media and Sanjay Sharma of Amdocs.
I strongly believe that the next phase of growth for Indian telecom will happen only when we have very strong platforms which will be able to deliver services which really empower the consumers and also at the end of the day give them a lot of experience, good experience and delight. Otherwise, we will continue to struggle where we are in terms of teledensity, in terms of quality of service, and in terms of customer experience. So, voice and data strongly believes that this is something that has to be taken up. The industry needs to be pushed. The operators needs to be convinced that they have to work on upgrading and consolidating their platforms. Without this, the next growth phase would be tough.
Next on the agenda was the industry keynote by Rajan Matthews of Cellular Association of India and the thought leadership speech delivered by Yoav Zaltzman of Amdocs on the theme, The Power of Experience Transforming to Customer Delight. The interactive part of the event culminated with the panel discussion on the theme, Is Indian Telecom Working for Customer Empowerment and Customer Delight? The panelists of the discussion represented some of India's leading telecom service providers, and they shared their views and opinions on their plans and service offerings for the Indian customer. The ET Now team met up with the panelists after the event to get their key takeaways from the discussion and some major insights regarding the telecom industry.
I'm now joined by Mr. Sumit Chaudhary, CIO at Reliance Jio. Thanks, Mr. Chaudhary, for your time. First question, of course, based on the theme of today's event, that's transformation, enhancing business value, as well as customer delight and experience. You, of course, already have an advantage considering that you already have a pan-India license for 4G spectrum. What essentially is your game plan going forward?
Our game plan is to be a full services digital services provider and not just consider ourselves to be a 4G or a broadband telecom company,
right,
which we are going to be. So what advantage we have got is to create new full digital lifestyle services that we can offer to our customers.
When you say digital lifestyle services, can you broaden your explanation of that in terms of, you were mentioning earlier about the connectivity of the IP network to the 3G and 2G that you use otherwise?
So the existing operators are on a 2G, 3G network, which are primarily voice technologies on which you are trying to do data. We, on the other hand, we have a data network on which we will also be able to provide voice. And not just voice, we'll be able to provide a lot of other digital services like video on cloud, on music and storage and security and home automation. And so we will be able to provide you a lot of services which are connected to this IP network, which will make your life, both when you're mobile or when you're at home, quite seamless, which is not possible in the current scenario.
All right, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm now joined by Mr. Anil Tandon, CTO at Idea Cellular. Thank you, Mr. Tandon, for joining us on the show. Let's focus a little bit more on the technology involved in actually bringing about this customer delight and, of course, the IT backend as well. Where do you think that stands right now? Because a lot of people don't essentially have an integrated platform to offer both voice and data together. And, of course, for the next leg of data services to actually go out there, what do you think these platforms need to look like going forward?
You see, depends on from company to company. A lot of operators would have integrated, which means where they would be charging the data and the voice on others. Some have differently. But by and large, and in India, we have to see that the immediate need, since 97% of the users or 95% of the users are prepaid. So these platforms are more required from a billing perspective on the prepaid this thing. We, of course, have a common IN intelligent network based charging, where we do both data and the voice on the same this thing, and hence are able to do a lot of cross bundling and being able to offer voice, data, and VAS services to be cross bundled in this case. The other issues that the come in is today, the policy control is an important element in the network element that comes in. It is, if I was to say, it's a recent this thing internationally also. Yeah, it's still under the developing phase, and we've been able to introduce this from the time that we introduced 3G into the network. We have a policy control by virtue of which you can give different class of service or quality of service to the subscribers. Okay. And since this is an evolving field, we have to see how it goes, and we will continuously keep upgrading our systems as we go into that. Okay. So that is how we, but yes, and then we'll have to link this along with the customer experience management, and that would involve maybe some probe-based, which is a little bit technical part of it, but that's, or it could be some event-based analysis of the data experience of the customer.
All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
I'm now joined by Mr. Vishant Vora, Director Technology at Vodafone. Mr. Vora, thanks for your time. Can you give us a sense of the on-ground situation right now? As one of the biggest service providers in the country, you already have an integrated platform for both voice and data. But going forward, how do you look at enhancing customer data?
So I think we as an industry are in a state of transition. So in the past, the business has been dominated by voice, and the future is all about data, and we are right kind of in between. So we need to be able to manage both and delight our customers by having the right technology and platforms that give us the capability to cater to both needs today, as well as prepare us for futuristic services for data, which will be data dominated. And so we began that journey a few years ago, and I'm very happy to say that actually our network is quite advanced in its modernization, as well as our IT platforms. And then we were also, I think, one of the first in the industry to actually beginning to combine network and IT domains to bring more convergence in. That lets us create many new services and new possibilities and new ways to delight our customers.
So that's a sense of the potential of the Indian telecom industry. Time for a short break, but on the other side, more on what the future could hold for the telecom industry. Welcome back to the Mumbai leg of the Telco CXO Forum, a platform for the Indian telecom industry to interact and network to build a roadmap for the future of the telecom sector. Here are more views and insights from the event. I am now joined by Alpana Doshi, CIO at Reliance Communications. Thanks, Ms. Doshi, for joining us. Considering that Reliance Communication, of course, was a pioneer in providing mobile for masses, and that largely evolved around voice. Considering the focus today here as well is on data services, what is your strategy going forward?
I believe this is just a very, very timely conversation, first of all, because I think transformation has been the key word for almost 2 years now. And the fact that Reliance has actually been a complete pioneer, as you rightly very, very well put it, right from voice services, we have been envisioning the fact that the transition from voice to data, how long it is going to take, what should be our journey towards that particular point. And hence, today when I look back at it, the aspect of the entire 3G launch, which was done really in a record time by Reliance, and very well adopted by the users as well, by the subscribers in India. And then going forward, the fact that we have been aligning well with the social networking, with the aspects like cloud strategy, as well as with analytics. Those are the engines, as we call it, in a very short word, SMAC. So that SMAC has been well adopted by Reliance, and the infrastructure we have laid out is actually extremely modular in nature. And as we have been going through the past 12 months, 18 months, and the stage we are in right now, basically all we have had to do is bring in the required modular enhancement to our infrastructure. And which really means that wherever we need to add capacity, you add capacity. If a functionality is needed, you can add it in a pretty cool manner. So with that, I would say that, yes, I think definitely Reliance is well positioned to be a big player in this whole transformation journey.
All right. Thanks so much for your time.
Most welcome.
Thanks. I'm now joined by Mr. Hiram Ranade, CMO of Tikuna Digital, a company that focuses largely on data services. In terms of the platform that we have right now for data services in particular, how do you view it going forward as a market in India?
So we see data services evolving from the current just data as a transport service to aggregation of multiple content and application services. And in this transformation, all the telcos that are trying to offer data services to the market would have to enhance the capabilities of their backend systems and the processes to be able to address this new opportunity.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I'm now joined by Shailin Desai, Partner Advisory Services at EY. Thanks, Mr. Desai, for joining us. Going by the theme of this event, there's been an emphasis on data services and how voice doesn't really contribute so much to revenues. But in terms of the masses, really, do you believe that India is ready to take that next big leap? Because we've already just about seen people converting from 2G to 3G. Now we're talking high-end data services that, of course, will also involve 4G. Why the specific emphasis now, and do you believe there is potential in the masses at this point in time, or it will still take more?
Typically, just like how the voice services matured, obviously you focus on the urban markets, the early adopters, and then, as you said, the long tail catches up. We believe clearly data will also follow a very similar route. It all depends around availability of cheaper data handsets. And if you really look at the performances of the telcos, they seem to indicate the same.
That's it on this special edition of the Telco CXO Forum. The future clearly looks bright, with a key focus on consumer satisfaction and high-end data services. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.